We are in Harrison County, Kentucky, and we're finding tractors of all makes and models here. And Jamie Eubanks, you have a project tractor, is that right?
That's correct. It's a 1967 430 case diesel. Acquired it a few years ago and have been working on it, getting some leaks and different things fixed on it, and want to restore it and bring it back to its original beauty.
What do you like about the 430?
Well, I grew up on a 430. Our farm that we grew up on had Farmlife and case tractors, and Massey Ferguson was our three lines of tractors. And the 430 case was like my favorite one. And my dad sold his 430 several years ago, and I never could find it. And run across this one and went and drove it, and just, you know, it brought back so many memories, and just was, I said, I gotta have it. So
back in the day, what did you and your dad use the Case 430 for?
I grew up with a pretty big family, and my dad was a sharecropper. We done a lot of custom work, corn picking, combining wheat, and not at large scales, but still enough to feed a family of 6 kids. There was 8 of us all together. But hay, tobacco primarily, and corn and wheat and cattle mostly. And then bought into a dairy farm. But just your typical farming around here in this area of Kentucky. So
the Case 430 kind of helped put money in the bank and food on the table.
Oh yes, very universal. And we used the 430 for a lot of stuff. So I was on it more than any of the other tractors that we had. It's a heritage and a love for that found me to get back to it. So.
You spent a lot of hours in the seat and behind the wheel.
Yeah, that's when I could get my brothers off of it. So I have, 3 older brothers, and it was kind of hard to do at that time, but it was a very good tractor to operate and farm with.
Tell us a little bit about when you were behind the wheel of this tractor, how the setup was for you as an operator.
Well, I've always been a pretty big fella, so it was always easy access. This particular model here doesn't have the hydraulics like remote on it, but the one we had, it was just easy access to everything and very friendly to use. As far as mowing, one of my favorite things to do on it was when we had a sickle mower on it, would mow hay or use a combine. We used Boyle, Alice Chandler type, pull type combines, and they were just really good to run with, very good to see off of, and very user friendly for us.
So you have some plans. I know you said you got the leaks out of this one. Tell us what else you're going to do to it.
Well, I'm hoping to, actually I've already got the paint, and I got to get my decals for it. And there's certain areas that have better stuff than others. So it's taken a little while, and having a family of my own, you kind of work on that. You can spend a lot of money on these, but I've got my tires on, finally found my weights and stuff that I really wanted to do before I started the painting project. And hopefully the next time maybe I'll see you that we can get that done. But rebuilt the seat on it, and just some things like that to get it up to par. So.
And you're going to make it look like new, or are you going to kind of leave it halfway original?
Well, I'm hoping it looks pretty new. You've seen the ones that were here earlier, so we have a favoritism for shine, so we like for them to look pretty good. And we just, with our tractor club, we enjoy showing the tractors and showing a younger generation of some of the older tractors that we had to work on and work with, let them know about that. So.
You didn't have the cab, you didn't have the air conditioning, Armstrong steering in some cases.
Yeah, at least this one does have power steering. We had some that didn't, and they were kind of hard. They were kind of hard on you by the time you get home in the evening. So, but hopefully get it back to the luster of new looking, really.
Tell us a little bit about the engine, the power under the hood on this Case 430.
Well, it's a 4-cylinder diesel. The rated is about 34 to 35 PTO horse on, and the drawbar is about 38 to 40. A lot of people think it's more than that, but the gear ratio of it allows it to really perform in you put the weight on it and you can gear. This particular tractor has a high and low range. Some of the 30 series come out with a triple range, and which I really love, but that particular one didn't have it, and it just allows you to do a lot of different things with it, honestly.
Do you remember, did you see a lot of Case tractors in Kentucky back in the day?
So actually this area, there was quite a few cases, especially in the 30 series era and into the 70s, but then of course a lot of internationals, John Deere's now.
What do you think Case did right back in the 1950s and 60s with their tractors? They were pretty rugged, weren't they?
Very rugged. I honestly believe it. With a lot of the older tractors anyhow, they kept it basic and used, I think, just great components and easy working on tractors. I mean, honestly, it's a lot easier accessibility to get to stuff to work on things. And I truly think they're just a really good company. They put out a good product. We had a 730 and a 930, a 530 diesel tricycle, and a 430 case. My dad loved them too. So my dad passed away about 2 years ago. Actually, just had got this tractor, but he never really got to see it. So there's really a little bit of a history and an emotional part to this.
Case 430 that your dad had, and you get to sit behind the wheel yet today.
I know, just, in my mind, there's people when we do shows and stuff that I've known all my life, they'll come up and say, is that your dad's old tractor? And I'm like, no, it's not, but you never know it, but it looks just like it really, so.
Yeah, one just like it, and you get to sit there and listen to that engine and work on it and think about your dad.
That's right, he left a mark on us truly, and
got you where you are today.
That's right. I think he'd be proud of me. So.
Well, thanks for sharing the story of your dad and the Case 430 tractor that meant so much to you back on the farm. Thank you for catching Classic Tractor Fever. If you can't get enough Case, be sure to check out these other stories. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to keep more Classic Tractor Fever rolling.